Hey, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. Hope everybody had a good raid. We're going to talk about a little extension on the VXP Weekend, and you'll probably see you have a new little pill on the left-hand side that deals with it. So they're making some changes, and they're going to give us an extra 24 hours, both on the, all the targets and the 85. But we'll get into that. Let me go ahead and introduce everybody from left to right. Magic Mike.
Hello.
Lady Cat.
Hello, all.
And Cannon Fodder.
Good evening, everyone.
And this is Hefe. So I guess we will get started with the slides. All right. Here's the bug fixes. Warehouse is displaying a placeholder for level 8 and 9. I'm assuming nobody's run across that. Attempting to send friends a resource crate would cause an error. Yeah. Then there's the last three are more interesting. The firing arc was visible on the basilisk for both players. And as on the right-hand side, you'll see originally they were facing backwards. And I think the last one is also related to the basilisk. Doesn't specify, but the basilisk was causing a lot of problems with the hardware accelerator. Anybody have any thoughts on the last three? I sort of grouped them together because they all involve the new Conqueror ship, the basilisk.
Well, I noticed it where I saw their arc. I thought that was kind of strange that it was showing up in the battle, but I'd never seen it to where it was actually backwards. So that's kind of amusing.
Yeah. It sort of has a little wake controller feel to it. So, or what's the gridiron monolith?
There you go.
Yeah. There's a few like that.
Steve back there.
Okay. Well, there's been some new bugs introduced into the game with the update.
Yeah.
I think the most interesting one is there appears to be some sort of client, the software that you have on your computer as opposed to server side is miscalculating build and refit times, or I'm not sure if it's build and refit or just refit times. And it's, I haven't run into that because I still have a build going from prior to that. But I know on the pre-show, Cannon Fodder, you mentioned that it was adding a couple of days onto yours.
Yeah. I did a couple different refits today, and both times it was adding 1 to 2 days. And I thought maybe I was going crazy because I would look at it, it would be 6 days or whatever. And I'd click build, I'd go off and do something, I'd come back and I'm like, wait a minute, I swear that was 6 days. I'm like, now it's saying 8. And then I saw the post later. I'm like, aha. So I'm not crazy. At least that's not proof of it.
Was it only refits?
What's that?
Was it only refits?
All I did was refit, so I can't say.
Because I busted
didn't test to see if it was a new build or not. But no, I was just doing some refits.
Yeah, I busted out a couple of shrikes today with tokens that I didn't notice any more than what was expected. So
now I don't know. If
they were new. They were new.
Have they said which one is actually the accurate number? Because I don't pay that much attention to what
the number I saw was the one I saw a few days ago when I did the first one. So I wasn't surprised. It was like 4 days, 20 hours or something, and they all had that same thing.
Okay. Well, I'm just wondering if you're getting the intended build time before you click it, and then the added build time, or if the next number is actually what it should be. That's what I'm slightly.
Let me read something.
Sure.
Let me read something. I actually just got a message from Chris.
Go ahead.
Okay.
So the times it's giving you are correct when you start the build. It's just miscalculating it to a lower time than it should be, so it displays wrong at start.
Okay, there we go.
So you're not actually getting.
You're not adding time, you're just getting too low of a time when you go to do it.
Yeah. So you're probably better off. Or whatever. So, It's a graphical, quote unquote graphical issue. So it's not really, shouldn't be impacting anybody's gameplay from what I'm reading here.
Okay. Just making you sound slightly crazy, that's all.
And I did not notice it on what I did, so. That's why I asked.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that figured out.
Yeah.
So it's sort of a non-issue. Besides, it looks like it could impact you, but it doesn't appear to be doing that. So, okay. Well, should we wait? There were some other bug issues. That was the largest one. Wasn't there another one but people were facing a couple of issues. Oh, there was. Well, we'll get to that with the breacher. With the breacher TLC. What?
Did I miss one? Is this the right screen?
I'm not sure we were talking about.
Are we on the screen?
No, I'm talking about bugs that have come about since yes.
I'm good.
Yeah, there's a bug associated with the TLCs that's graphical in nature as well, and so I guess we'll just we'll move on. Moving on. Like I mentioned earlier, VXP Weekend, you get an extra day. So, but as we'll get into later, I would guess that we're not going to get a second one, because they've outlined even unless they change things, because they've outlined you'll see in future slides, the FM schedule for this month, which extends into March. And there's only 3 weeks. And normally when we only have 3 weeks, we don't get a second VXP Weekend. So I don't know. Maybe we'll, maybe we won't. But I have a feeling that those 24 days of tokens that were dropped for Siege might be semi-replacing what we got in the raid. So if you can, try and take full advantage of the extra day. So anybody else have anything on VXP Weekend?
I, for a change, don't really have anything to rank, so I'm kind of happy about it. So it's kind of a non-issue for me either way.
Okay. Are you already had your strikes done, or you're not doing strikes?
No, I'm not even bothered.
Okay.
So, no, I mean, I unless I suddenly see a big reason to do them and a big advantage, which may come next month, and I'll be like, well, darn it. But I don't see the point. Because then I can do both shipyards with, comps and defenders, and I don't have to, speeds everything up. So.
Okay. Alrighty. Unless anybody has anything else, we can move on to our experience with Molten Fury. We got 2 new targets. We got the, as we talked about before, we got the Basilisk, the Conqueror Hall, 2 new weapons associated with it, and the tokens I mentioned were pretty much the new items that were added in. Personally, I thought the targets weren't all that bad once you got used to them. I thought there was as long as you had a completed fleet of one or the other. I know with the ERADs, I was still able to hit both targets without significant, bad, over the top damage on either one of the 104 or the 106. I was getting down the 104 down to like 12 to 13 minutes with a pedestrian, like the Creeping Death Crew. Or no, I'm sorry, Steelheads. And then I was getting the 106 with ERADs down to about 35 minutes, 40 minutes, somewhere in that neighborhood. So it wasn't really all that awful. How's everybody else's experience?
I have a very similar fleet to yours, and I could do one set, and I was toast of the tier 9s.
Okay.
So I'm having trouble driving, I guess. I still have some problems seeing some of those, but that could be an excuse. Some of the weapon or the turrets.
Yeah, the thrower turrets.
I still don't see them very well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get trapped, and again, that's probably just an excuse, but that's what happens. And so I got 2 hitting me at one time and blah, blah, blah. But otherwise, I was almost doing better autoing, to be quite honest. Taking a little bit less damage by autoing than I was driving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did mention that because you weren't able to get through the targets.
Yep.
Driving, right?
Right.
But you were able to get both of them while, yeah. I think it's a lot of times with those targets, if you go out and watch people do videos, but when you do it yourself, personally, I found it easier to, in this example with the 104 and the 106, don't get in too big of a rush to complete a set. Like hit the 104 3 or 4 or 5 times until you get it down, until you improve your muscle memory and actually doing the target and figure out little tricks, as opposed to having in your mind both targets and switching back and forth, because it doesn't help you learn it as quickly.
I think I agree with you 100% on that. Once you learn the route and get it where it's almost, just muscle memory.
Yeah.
Then you got it. You're in good shape, and that's how you do some of the. It's just like doing the FM targets. I mean, once you get those down, got a good route, and you learn it, you just do it. And that's probably what needs. You're right. You're right. Stack them up and then go to the next one.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So
I couldn't really auto the 106s though. They kept getting stuck. So I would drive those and auto the 104s.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. Normal deal for me though. I can do about 4 or 5 of the targets, and I don't really want to see them again. So.
Yeah, I get to the point once I start figuring it out. I like to figure. I only like to do them until I can stop cutting time off of them.
Sure.
Once it's like, okay, now I've reached this point where I'm going plus or minus a minute on a target, then I lose interest. But if I can, chop big chunks of time off of them as I'm driving them, I still find that interesting. So,
yeah, it's still a challenge for you.
Yeah. The challenge is just getting a lower number. So
right.
Yeah. Okay. But all in all, it wasn't well. It doesn't sound like you had a good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
if you're talking to me, I got everything I wanted. I just had to do it. It was a grind fest. Because I was using the hydras mostly, and during the repair time, because I just refused to coin it.
Yeah, and I think at this point I should bring up the fact that there is one more raid in this cycle, the siege cycle. I've seen people around that think this is the last one, and some people think that there's 2 more, but there's only one more. That's the tech store raid, which I think is going to be the 13th. I got a slide on that later, and that's still iffy. It's based on the other information that we've been given. And yeah, they're bringing up. You were still hitting some of the lower targets as well, because people were bringing up using hydras.
Yeah, I primarily did the 60 sets.
Okay.
Yeah. I would go and auto the 80s with my ERADs, let them go and repair, and then do 60s until they were repaired, and then do the rest. And then at the end of the night, I would hit a 106, 104.
Okay.
And that's how I did it.
Okay. So yeah, and those times I gave were without a grease monkey. That was just the raw repair times, because I know sometimes a lot of people use grease monkey times, and I don't consider that a fair time unless you actually admit you're using a grease monkey.
Right.
So all right. Do we have anything else on the Molten Furies?
There's a questionnaire out on it if people haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, yep. It's very similar to what we've been receiving after all the raids, but yeah, there is a questionnaire out there to complete. So I guess okay. Let's move on then.
Look, I got my sirens.
All right. Forsaken Mission, as I was describing earlier. What we were given was the monthly Forsaken Mission cycle, which didn't end at the end of the month. That went all the way to. Whoa! I did my math wrong there. It should be. I was looking at the first. Wait, no. Yeah, it would be the 13th. No, that's correct. That's correct because it'll start. It'll start on the Wednesday after the end of the FM. So, yep, March 13th. And so this week we have VXP Weekend, and then we're going to have Bounty. And then, well, maybe I'm trying to think. Is there anything where there's no holiday that we're going to have a holiday event, right? So maybe they will sneak in a VXP Weekend in Cycle 3. Unless I'm missing something. Does that make sense to everybody?
It's Bike Weekend Daytona. It's pretty.
Yeah. That's. I'm scared to see what the target's going to be, and what the prizes might be at that point. We could see quite the skins on that one. So. But am I missing something? There's not normal. We've been having these holiday events of every month, and we call it another raid. Is something just foggy in my brain of what would happen at that point?
When's St. Patty's Day?
What?
When's St. Patty's Day?
The 17th.
That's kind of close.
So that would occur during the raid. I mean, maybe they would do a holiday event a week early. I don't know. Potentially.
Maybe they'll just add something to the raid, some prize for being the person with 12 billion or whatever.
Lucky leopard.
Is that what it ended up with?
It was like 11 billion or something ridiculous. I don't know. I was like,
that's ludicrous.
Yeah, it's whatever it is. It's
More
fun. I mean, because they added an extra
Yeah.
day to the raid, and I'm sure that that extra day to the raid added quite a bit of competition on the leaderboard as far as getting in the top 10.
Good for kicks. I mean, that's fine. If that was purely a you do it if you want to do it kind of thing. So
Yeah, yep.
I don't have an issue.
I know Lady Cat wanted that skin, but it's
Yes.
yep.
Yeah, I have no interest in a pink ship. So.
Whatever. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Little hearts
rock
on
do
it.
what you want. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. I thought it was a good thing. They were fighting for that one. But yeah, here's the Forsaken Mission cycle. And let's go and see what the new prizes are. The other thing that should be noted, I haven't gotten any clarification on this, but they reduced the ballistic resistor and radioactive resistor capacities from 20, which they were the last week or so, down to 5 again. So it's no longer obtainable for most players. I'm not sure if this was intentional or unintentional at this point in time, but it used to be a quick way to sneak in and get to the tokens earlier.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's definitely unintentional. They would never do something like that.
No. Well, yeah, it's yeah. I still haven't got I filed a bug report. I put a bug report in the Discord, but I have not got anything back, whether that was intentional or unintentional. So we're going to deal with the high pressure piping. This is a special for your strike. This is the third escalation. Escalation for the strike. The first one was the engine, which was the flaming turbine or whatever it was. It was a
turd.
What?
No,
I can't remember the name. It was something turbine, but that was a engine that added radioactive damage, projectile speed, and radioactive defense. And then we got the radioactive battery.
It was a scorcher turbine.
Scorcher turbine. There we go. And then we got the radioactive battery, which is a replacement for the siege battery that specializes in radioactive damage. And now we got the high pressure piping, which is a replacement for siege targeting. Well, the other one was, we went engine, siege battery, and then siege targeting in regards to how everything stacks and basically what they replace. And this is an advantage over regular siege targeting for to a certain degree, because the way things are calculated, you're going to add that 55% radioactive damage plus the building damage, multiply it by the building damage, and you end up with a higher number than you do with siege targeting if you're using radioactive. And the thing that we'll get into in a little bit, radioactive, the increase in radioactive damage or building and wall damage does not change your shockwave damage, as far as we know, unless they changed it during the update. It will have to specifically say shockwave damage in order for it to increase the shockwave damage. And there is, like the multiplex special will do that for you. Any thoughts on this special by itself besides, well, I know, Cannon Fodder is not planning to build the strikes. Even though, I thought it was interesting that they picked the Shrike as the name of a ship, because the Shrike is it's a scary little bird. I mean, it's has anybody followed what it actually does and what it's famous for?
Mm-mm.
It's a small raptor that it'll catch lizards, other birds, insects, whatnot, and it will impale them on sticks and thorns and whatnot around their nest. They'll just take the dead body and then they'll just impale it on around there. Some of it has to do with letting poisons get out of the system of what they're eating, but it's sort of gory. But we haven't really seen anything related to it. I just thought it was an interesting choice of a hull. So unless anybody has anything more on this special individually, I wanted to talk more about the launchers. And does anybody still have anything on the high pressure piping?
No.
Okay.
Not I, anyway.
Okay. Some people have had a little bit of confusion associated with these launchers. The one on the left, the Raptor, is the one we have a blueprint for. It's not limited. It has higher shockwave damage and lower multi-shot damage than the Stalker launcher. And that has higher damage, lower shockwave damage, and it has a little bit of ballistic defense associated with it. The big thing that everybody should know is these do not stack. We mentioned this from the first time the Stalker launcher came out. These do not stack together. The player estimate associated with the number of stacks that you need to get a shockwave is 1,200, which sounds like a massive number until you start to remember some of the specials that we have. The whatever capacitor, the +5 shockwave one that came with the ship, and then you can still stack this with the interceptor special, which gives you another +3. So now you're at +8 supercharge, and you can also add specials that add 2 or 3 multi-shot that occur within the same reload time. So it doesn't, like I said, 1,200 sounds like a massive number, but once you start multiplying all those things together, it's not huge.
I'm sorry, these are the ones that are limited, right?
Which one?
The Stalker.
Yeah, the one on the left is the blueprint. The one on the right.
This is limited. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
So you got all right.
Yeah. So the way I see it personally is the Raptor launcher requires different specials than the Stalker launcher. The Raptor launcher, you're relying on the shockwave. So you want, as I mentioned before, increase your multi-shot. The Roaring Barrels actually has the most multi-shot of +3. Does not have any other attributes that increase anything else because it's meant for corrosive. So a lot of people use multiplex, which also increases the shockwave damage. It specifically says shockwave damage. So that's a trade-off between the two of them. I'm not sure which one's the absolute best, but they could be close. The +2, +3. Are you doing more shockwave damage, or are you creating more shockwaves? It really depends on how it works out as far as the armor on what you're firing at. How do you need less shots if you get them more often? So that part's a little bit tricky. While the Stalker launcher, I look at it as taking advantage of a lot of these new specials that add radioactive and building damage, because this first number here on the Stalker, the 30,000, that is impacted by the radioactive damage, the building damage. So that pays off there, but it's not paying off as much with the Raptor launcher, which relies more on the shockwave. And it's not if you can't get 30 Stalker launchers, you're probably better off relying on the Raptor launcher, because the more Stalker launchers you add, the slower you're going to get your shockwave, the less shots that you're going to put on the turret. So, any thoughts?
Good info.
Well, makes sense.
Okay. All righty. Well, let's move on to our scopes, which is our concussive scope. It had a use at some point. It will probably have a use in the future. Cannon, what do you think? Does it have a current use in the game, or is it like that day has passed and that day is going to come again, like certain types of fashion?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more the case, really. I don't really see much use for it with what I'm using, concussive wise, but it's like any special. You want to get it while it's available, because you just never know if and when they're going to bring it back, or if they're suddenly going to be useful with something else down the road. There's a couple of things. I mean, I haven't really worked through the numbers with it, but I'm at the moment, I'm not really planning on doing much with it. But it's like anything. You never know. So you might as well get it and not need it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm recommending getting it, but I don't see anybody rushing to put this on any current builds. But it should be useful once we get a concussive tier 8 haul.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to regret not getting it, imagine. So.
Yeah. Wait, didn't we got concussive? Okay, plus no. I thought. Wait, what's the one that? Okay, there is one. There is one that does. What do I have on my lurker? That does something. Oh, mine does the opposite. Okay, we have the concussive force. Yeah,
concussive force, so you get more damage, less range.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm not really sure where you would use this on your lurker. You would have to have a really big base, I would think.
Yeah.
To find some use with this, but okay. Let's move on to the corrosive force.
Didn't do the math on whether or not it would help with the depth charge or not.
Okay. And corrosive force, a lot of people are equipping scatter guns to their breachers in the defense, because I don't think people are using that much. I don't think people are using that much of the scatter guns offensively. Maybe in some specialty type of things. No, because they don't get through the walls.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because they don't get really through the walls. So that presents a big problem in a lot of bases. I mean, some bases it's not a big deal because you're driving right through the guard anyway. But yeah, if there's a bunch of walls between you and what you're shooting at, it's really a pain.
Yeah, and the I mean, it might be good to be used as if the person is planning to just blitz past you, and not take out that ship. You would lose some range, but increase your damage. So if you're already beating deflection, you're beating deflection by 15% more. But and since the player won't know, you have the potential that they'll try and zip past you, as opposed to realizing, okay, well, let's just snipe him out. So it's got that sort of role, a defensive breacher role.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't see that much else for it at this point.
Yeah, as long as you got the setup to actually take advantage of it, and you're not actually making it worse by taking off even a small amount of range can sometimes make a big difference. So it just all depends on your layout, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on to see what we got next. All right, Into the Breach. This is a skirmish target or multiple targets. It looks to appear to be very similar to Siege Spin, which a lot of people had trouble completing some of the prize packs. Because as I recall, prize pack 3 and Mastery were the same with 7 encounters, and the 7th one was eating a lot of people. So this could be fairly difficult way to get a breacher, or get a breacher token. But the thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that there is, in the Mastery round, you can get 6, and prize pack 3, you get another 2, so you're at 8. 10, 11. The limit is 5. So, don't waste 6 VXP tokens, unless you want to. But yeah, I would use them up if you can. And remember, this has only got a 22-hour build time to it. So when you win it, you also get the 1-day token. So you can build a blank right away and use these VXP tokens. You would need 10 of them to rank up the ship completely, just call it. Anybody tried this or have any,
No, when I went to even consider doing it, they were having the issue with it. So I just kind of moved on and did a couple other things instead.
Okay. Oh, yeah, the issue. I wanted to bring that up. If you look at prize pack 3, I only have 4 Breacher Dreadnought blueprints. And you see this check mark over here. Implying that I've got it, 1 of 1 and whatnot. This is a graphical issue. You will get it, or at least that's what Kixeye has been telling us on Discord, that you will get it, and that's not a problem. So, but if you have 5, you're not going to get any more. The hull capacity is still set at 5.
Probably a good idea to take a picture of your limited blueprint, deal with it. Like, say it says 4 of 5. It'd be like, I did it and I still didn't get it, or, something to that effect. They always like pictures, drawings and sketches and whatnot, and perhaps blood samples to prove.
Yeah. 8x10 color glossies with circles and arrows on the back.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the blood samples, I have not got that request yet, but
they go higher up the food chain for that. So
yeah, I'm not asking for. Okay, I'll have to look into that one.
The DNA has to correlate with your user ID.
Yeah, give them a DNA sample.
Yeah. I mean,
okay. Surely we do.
Surely.
Yes. I don't know. At some point along the way, they did get Mike's DNA, and they've been altering it ever since.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Titan Awakening. This is this is 4 mega hull prizes, but it is for the hulls you're supposed to use are Eradicators and Shrikes.
Frustrating. Yep.
Yeah. Well, but what I've been able to determine based on, I haven't tried it yet, but I think Cannon Fodder, you've done prize pack 1. It's quite easy if driven decently.
I don't drive decently, so it's still easy. So I mean, unless your build's terrible, but I had no trouble with a full build of Eradicators.
Okay.
So, it's like probably an hour or something. I don't even know. It wasn't enough to even look. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
That's only pack 1. Who knows? It could all go to shit on pack 2 or 3. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah, it's not that much titanium, so I'm like, it's not really a good source of titanium, but
No,
I mean, if you need build tokens for your mega, because this is the first time I think we've seen the 1 day.
I feel like we've had them before, but I don't think we've had very many. Like maybe once or twice. I don't feel like we've had many though.
Okay, because I'm gonna test your memory on megas because or knowledge of, because mine is awful. I used to.
I've hit yours. I know.
Yes, yeah. Well, when Larry was on the show and he would talk about megas, I would just leave the room.
Check
and
out.
then afterwards, when Larry left the game, the show, I would just, I would just skip over all the mega TLCs.
Mega? What mega? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, because I have no knowledge or whatever of these. So before we get on to the new prizes associated with this, from what I've been able to glean from talking to people, these quadcopters, not that good.
No, I don't think really anybody uses them.
Okay. Alrighty.
Yeah, I've never used them, and I didn't even have them because I didn't go after them because I'd already seen that people didn't really like them or whatever. So I'm like, I'm not spending my time or effort to get those. So that's what I'll be getting for the first 2 packs, and then actually get to the stuff I want. I'm losing the first 2 upgrade tokens because I already had the full amount or whatever. So because mine's maxed out at 383, oddly enough, and normally it's 384. I don't know what I did, cattywampus, but anyway, it's one of those persnickety things that it bothers me.
Okay. Yeah, 383 sounded random enough, or 384 sounded random enough. So yeah.
Well, that's the max. That's normally the max level you can get to with your mega is 384, and that's with everything, weapons and modules maxed out. And I have all that engine and drone bridge, all that maxed out, and it still says. So I don't know.
Sort of like the 129 with the player bases until they fixed it.
I guess. I don't know. So I think it's just me. They're just messing with my OCD or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, doesn't it just bug the hell out of you?
It does, and it shouldn't. And I know that it shouldn't, but it still does.
Right there with you, bud.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Well, let me. Let's see. I had so. Not a fan of the quadcopters. What they do is they're the only countermeasures that you can use on your megaship to counter another megaship's incoming fire. If you put countermeasures on your modules that are ship based, they will work against ships. They will not work against the incoming fire from the megas. But these will work on cannon and then mortar incoming fire from megas. So, but it doesn't sound like they're worth the space.
The 2 weapons that they're least likely to be on a decent mega, basically.
Okay.
I mean, virtually nobody puts. I mean, every once in a while somebody puts a mortar, but I wouldn't bother.
Okay.
So, unless something changes.
Okay. Well, something's about to change, I think.
Yeah.
Well, not this one, but the next one. The Harpoon missile launcher.
And the goalkeeper.
Yeah, the goal. Well, the next one, is going to be the ballistic one, but yeah.
Sorry.
What the?
I have a question here because I'm not that familiar. On the right-hand side in the attack stat block,
yes,
there's damage and there's module damage. How do we differentiate these? Why do we care?
Well, you go with your actual attack damage and the module damage. I don't know on that one, honestly.
Okay, because they have damage and module damage. Lady Cat, could you go to the next one? See how this is 2.5 and 5.1?
I would take that as building damage, maybe, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, why would they have both?
See how this one, where it's 3 million and then 150K? It means something, but I have no clue what it means.
It's
is that a ship one? That's why, because this won't do much damage against the actual module. But I don't know
okay, I get it. Okay,
So
so
the previous one, the damage, was that also against fleets on the missile?
It must be.
Go back to the missile.
well,
We don't have to go back and
prioritize
forth,
megas
but-
over ships. Okay, so yeah,
Yeah.
it's like ship wall damage. It's like building and ship damage, or
Yes.
building and wall damage. So
Or
okay, I get it now.
Ship and building damage. You know, the base
Yeah.
damage versus building.
Okay,
wall
I get
damage.
it. I got it
Right.
now.
And I think that's the same thing with this, where your damage would be against, fleets, whereas the module damage would be against the other mega. So at least that makes sense. So it
Okay.
probably is the opposite of that, and it's half that number, divided by pi or something. So
Okay. All right. This one has a narrow arc where it fires at. I don't know. Are these damage numbers good?
I haven't really tinkered with it to see, but they don't look they don't look bad. I mean, a salvo of 4, so you've obviously got to take that out of it, but that's still going to be a decent number. But its small window might become an issue because you just go where it's not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Okay. All right, and let's
Yeah,
go. Let's go back to the I keep on calling it the chaos. The goalkeeper chain gun. This will. This could be countered by the cannon quadcopter. Salvo 20. Again, I don't. If you want to take over talking about megas, I have no idea what I'm talking about with megas.
I can say somewhat. I'm definitely not an expert either. I've just got more experience than you with it. But I can see this being beneficial, especially given how prevalent fleets are in a mega battle. I mean, you can have a decent fight with just 2 megas, but once you throw in a Conqueror fleet, it's just basically a done deal. I mean, I don't care how good your mega is, it's not going to hold up. I don't know that this is going to necessarily make a huge difference. I mean, that's a large salvo.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I haven't sat down and looked at the math, but that's
Okay, no, it's okay. I'm just,
with 3 million damage and 20 salvos, you drop it down a decent amount. So
yeah.
I wonder at what point because I don't know. You don't have any specials that are going to boost it. It's just going to be what it is. So,
The other part I found interesting in here, and I couldn't.
150,000. So it would nick at it. I mean, 150,000 with a 11 reload time. So it would kind of nick at it. I don't see. It's got splash, so that could be good.
Well,
Sorry,
there is part of the flavor text that might improve this, but I don't understand. I can't translate this over to the stat blocks.
Okay.
Features a 360-degree firing arc as well as rounds which shred enemy deflection, increasing the amount of ballistic damage they take.
Well,
normally
it says a stack duration, but it doesn't imply any effect for said stack.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they just missed a feature or if they're just kickside. So I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, it feels like there's something missing. It feels like what's going on with the new mortar turret.
Yeah.
With the debuffs to deflection.
Sure.
And
that's what I would assume. It's got some sort of debuff on it, but which would make that 150 much more valuable really quickly. But if it's decent, but I mean, 150 isn't terrible, but I don't think it's suddenly going to make you able to defend yourself necessarily, unless again it translates different than it looks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. Oh, that was it. All right, I'm going to take you off present, Lady Cat, and we can
quick and dirty.
Yeah. 47 minutes, 7:47. So
we started late, so we're going crazy.
Yeah, well,
we don't have George here to expound upon every detail of everything, so that speeds everything up.
Well, you never know. He may show up at any point.
Pop up, add 30 minutes buffer.
Yeah. Well, I was.
Let me tell you something that I thought was funny. I'm sitting here thinking I'm sharing the slides.
Yeah, I know. we know.
So
Mike.
what the heck? The slide changes. I didn't change that slide. Then when I figured out it wasn't me.
I noticed that earlier when you were like, "Wait, do I go back a slide?" And I looked over and I saw you sharing. I saw you showing slides. I'm like, I bet Mike thinks he's sharing the slides and not
You're right.
at.
I thought I was sharing the
It was my turn to take the part of Vanderwater.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, but Mike,
love it.
that really explains a lot.
It does. To me, it does.
Yeah. I'm clued in on a lot of information now that you mentioned that. Yeah.
I think we'll all do it next week. We'll just all follow along with the slides.
I think I asked a question earlier that is that one that launcher, was it limited, and that you probably had just talked about it.
Yeah. I had. Yeah.
Okay.
I explained which ones were.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
I thought
I don't know.
running up
Yeah,
you
you gotta stop watching porn on the second monitor. You know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's all good. I was hoping. I was hoping that we would get a drop of the Wrong Thinker is supposed to post the designer diary at some point this evening, according to the BP next week. And from what I can tell, that hasn't happened yet. I don't know when it's going to actually happen. So yeah, we're not holding off and forever until figuring out when that's going to happen. But I could open up the show to slide to open mic type thing, is if everybody sort of stays on topic, don't talk over everybody else, yada yada yada. But I'm going to go ahead and do that and be nice and whatnot. And so I'm going to go ahead and post that link in the right hand side. And if anybody has anything they want to talk about regarding what what's going on in the show, and there we go.
Since I was already on the show, do I still have to be nice, or is it only for the new people coming on?
Oh, the new people. Yeah, the new people have to be the nice ones.
We have free reign. Okay, just making sure.
Well, I've already pre-vetted you, so and of course we all have Mike's DNA.
Yes,
we do. Samples were given out to all battle pirates.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry for all of you.
The wrong way.
I feel sorry for all of you. Yes,
you should. You should. We're all worthless addicts. So. Shame for shame. Hello, Watchman.
Hey, Supermarv. Hey, High Lord.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not too much. How are you doing?
Sick as a dog. Another day, though.
Okay. And High Lord.
Hello. How's it going?
Pretty good. Is his mic still out of control, everybody?
No, it's not bad so far.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because I turn them all the way down, and so I can barely hear them, and I still get people complaining about the level of his mic. So I'm not sure how well the sound mixer works in Hangouts and as how it translates over to YouTube. So
you cannot control his exuberance.
Or his volume. His volume is, I like the exuberance. The volume,
high energy.
Yes, he is high energy.
Passion.
So,
there you go.
Thank you.
Yes. Lady Cat, she approves of your passion.
I still laugh about the time we were I think in an after show, and I thought I could individually mute, and because it was just too much for me that night, and then I did it, and he was like blocked for everybody. I'm like, oh no.
You thought you were just muting it
for
to
me,
you, not to everybody. Yeah,
I didn't realize I had blocked him from the world, and I felt so bad. And then I couldn't hide from the fact that it just happened, and I'm like, oh no, shame for shame. So got us off on the wrong foot, I'm sure.
Nah, you're fine, bud.
Yeah. So
okay. Of the newcomers, how did your raid go?
Like almost 650 million, so it was pretty easy. It was all right. Boring, but it was all right.
Why did you find it boring? Because you kept on having game.
Yeah, exactly. When you're up in the over a few hundred million, it just gets to the point you're like, oh man, what the hell? And then plus all the preps and stuff, it's just like Jesus Christ. But it was good. It was a good one. It was definitely not, the damage was dealt fair, and it was very positive.
Okay. Well, that's good.
I did mine for free, got everything I wanted, called it done.
Nice.
Okay. And you were using, everybody just had ERADs, or it was a combination of ERADs and Shrikes that everybody was running?
Mine were ERADs, but they were a combination. I have a brutal ERAD and 2 regular ERADs, and then 2 of my ERADs I had the launchers on them instead for shooting over mountains.
Wow, okay. That sounds like a complicated build. It worked,
saved a little bit
well.
of damage. Yeah, it saved me a little bit of damage.
Okay. Yeah, I just work my way around the walls, and as opposed to okay. Sounds good. Okay. Well, is there anything else anybody would like to talk about? I didn't mean to focus it on the raid, but I can lead us to the after show, because I have no idea when this when this developer diary is going to drop, because we were expecting a lot of stuff to occur based on Chris's CM diary that was supposed to drop in this raid. In this update, 9.8. It didn't happen. Things such as the I called it the PV battle log. I think they called it the battle report, which gives the percentage of damage, evaded versus resisted versus whatever, which seems like a cool function. And then there's the ones that people were a little scared of. It changes to the damage calculation and changes to the splash calculation. Those were supposed to drop this week. They didn't. So hopefully we'll get a little update associated with that, what that's going to be, and what we should expect. But does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss at this point? Or we could go to the after show.
Those weapons in the Mega, those 2 at the end are really good. I mean, I heard you guys talking a little bit, and I understand you don't have a lot of involvement with Megas, but those 2 items are really good. It's odd, you use the Eradicators and the Shrikes, but actually it's kind of good in a way since the fleet's already built. And just get those items and start putting them on. And if you care about your Mega, if not, I mean, maybe if you can, just get them anyways and just leave them there, just in case you ever do want to build it.
Okay. Alrighty. Slappy's asking lower cannon mount or lower cannon mount for Shrike. So I'm not sure which one to choose of those 2. The lower versus the lowered. I'm not.
Lowest. Is there a lowest? Is that an option? Subterranean cannon mount?
I mean, I still haven't built my Shrikes. I do have the lowered cannon mount too on one of my plans to build something because of the defensive capabilities. And the fact that, I'm not sure there's a lot of Shrike drivers out here, but is there a need to have a speed or an engine associated with this? Because if you're moving, you can't be fired upon except for those ECM or not ECM. What's the the buildings that surface you? But there's really no reason to be a speedy siege sub. I mean, because you go up and down, and I don't quite get it. Does anybody see a reason to have an engine or not have that -40 combat speed?
I would say you get the Scorched turbines and put that on there. There's a reason these specials are made. I mean, obviously sometimes specials come out and we see flaws in them. We're like, yeah, I don't know, I'm just not going to use that one. But like on certain things, like with the Shrike and the Eradicator, these specials that came out, it seems right now that they're supposed to be meant to be used together. You're going to get more of an impact out of what's going on, I believe, if you use the shit right. And this is not always the case in our builds. It just happens to be right now at this moment in time. That's just the way that I'm seeing it.
Well, I tried to talk a little bit about that earlier, where I see a lot of the escalation weapons or escalation specials, the 3 escalation specials that came out for the Shrike. It feels that they're more tuned for the limited launcher, which I don't know that many players are going to be able to get a full complement of these.
Well, yeah, because of the different. Sorry, yeah, because of the different damage is it just
They don't
doesn't work.
stack. They don't stack together.
Yeah,
And
on that
also,
weapon.
you get them in a shard based way. You get you know, you need to have 30 on a ship, and then you need to have 5 shards each. So you need to hit 150 of the right target. That's no longer the correct target for us to hit anymore. It's it doesn't have a stacking bonus or anything like that. So who's going to go and hit 150 of those?
Oh yeah. No, for the launcher itself, the limited one, I would do a big pass on that. I mean, pick up a couple just in case you want to use it down the line, but I wouldn't use them, the launcher. But like the Annihilator cannon, I mean, I was refitting shit during the raid on my Eradicators. I mean, I got 17 of those things on my fleet, and I was using them during the raid. That shit's crazy. They're firing all the time.
Okay. All right. Well, we haven't got anything from.
I mean, they're stunning. They're stunning a lot.
Okay. Yeah, we haven't got anything yet from Kixeye as far as the diary. So I think we're going to end the show at this point and go to the after show in case anybody would like to join and whatnot. And we'll be back on Friday and see what's new at that point. We'll be within VXP Weekend and. I don't know, maybe see how some of these TLCs are working a little better or, know more about them. So I guess we'll see you all then. And the link's still on the right-hand side in case you guys would like to join the show. So later, people.
Good night.